My name is Emma. I am 25 years old, and today I want to tell you something very personal, the story of my marriage. This is not just a story of love and loss, but of lessons, mistakes, and truths that I wish someone had told me earlier. Maybe by sharing my journey, I can save someone else from going through the same heartbreak. I got married when I was 23. I was young, full of dreams, and hopelessly in love. On my wedding day, walking down the aisle, I remember clutching the flowers in my hand as if they were holding my heart together. My eyes met his, and in that moment, I thought the world had stopped. He smiled at me as though I was the only person alive. My heart whispered, "This is forever." The first months of our marriage felt like heaven. We moved into a small apartment. The walls were thin, the kitchen was tiny, and the furniture was second-hand. But to us, it was a castle. We painted the walls together, laughed at the mess we made, and collapsed on the couch exhausted but happy. He would surprise me with chocolates on his way home, and I would try new recipes just to see that sparkle in his eyes. I remember our honeymoon. We couldn't afford anything fancy, so we went to a small mountain town. It wasn't about luxury, it was about us. I can still picture the two of us walking hand in hand, stopping to take silly photos, laughing when the wind messed up my hair. One evening, as the sun set behind the hills, he held me close and said, "Emma, no matter what happens, we'll always have each other." I believed him completely, but life has a way of testing promises. Slowly, reality crept in. He started working longer hours. The dinners I prepared grew cold on the table as I waited for him. Sometimes he came home late into the night, tired, drained, barely speaking. At first, I told myself, he's working hard for us. It's just temporary. But as days turned into months, the silence at that dinner table became unbearable. Our first fights were small. I would say, "Why didn't you call me if you were coming late?" And he would sigh and say, "Emma, I was busy. You always complain." That word complain pierced through me. I wasn't complaining, I was longing. Longing for the man who once couldn't stop texting me, who once rushed just to spend time with me. The fights grew. They were no longer about late dinners. They were about everything. One night, unable to hold back anymore, I asked him softly, "Do you even see me anymore? Do you even care about how I feel?" He didn't even look at me properly. With tired eyes, he muttered, "Emma, not everything is about feelings. Life is hard. You need to stop being so dramatic." That sentence shattered me. I cried silently beside him, but he turned to the other side and went to sleep. That was the first night I felt truly alone, lying next to the man I loved. Time went on, and the distance between us grew like a wall. He stopped noticing when I dressed up for him. He forgot my little joys. Birthdays and anniversaries, once full of surprises, passed like ordinary days. I remember my first birthday after our marriage. I waited the whole day for him to come home with a smile, a gift, maybe even a cake. But he came home empty-handed, dropped his bag and said, "I'm exhausted. Can we celebrate later?" Later never came. That night, I blew out my own candles in the kitchen, whispering wishes to myself. I wanted to fix things, I tried. I cooked his favorite meals, I left him sweet notes. I asked him to take small walks with me. But he always had an excuse to tired. Too busy to stressed. Slowly, I stopped trying to. One evening, after yet another cold dinner, I looked at him and whispered, "I feel invisible to you. Do you even love me anymore?" He didn't reply. He just scrolled through his phone, avoiding my eyes. That silence was louder than any words. That silence was my answer. The breaking point came over something so small, dirty dishes in the sink. I asked, "Why don't you ever help around the house?" He exploded, shouting, "Why are you never happy? Emma, nothing I do is ever enough for you." Through tears, I shouted back, "Because you don't try anymore. You don't even see me." That night we screamed, cried, and tore each other apart with words sharper than knives. Words that could never be taken back. Accusations, insult, bitterness. And then the silence again. But this time, it wasn't temporary. The next morning, I watched him pack. Each shirt folded, each item placed carefully into a suitcase that I once thought we would use for vacations. I stood frozen, wanting to beg him to stay. But pride held me back. His pride held him back too. He walked out without a hug, without a tear, without looking back. And just like that, at 25, I found myself in an empty apartment that echoed with memories. The photos on the wall, the bed that still smelled like him, the closet half empty, all reminders of what once was. I sat there for hours, staring at the door he had closed behind him, hoping it would open again. It never did. At first, I blamed him. I told myself he was careless, selfish, unloving. But as weeks turned into months, I realized the truth. It wasn't just him. It was both of us. I buried my hurt until it turned into resentment. He buried his stress until it turned into coldness. We stopped communicating. We let pride and ego destroy what love had built. My marriage didn't end because we stopped loving each other. It ended because we stopped showing that love. And that, dear listener, is the lesson I want to leave you with. If you are in love, never stop showing it. Don't assume your partner just knows. Say it. Show it. Prove it. Don't let ego replace kindness. Don't let silence replace words. A marriage doesn't collapse in one big moment. It crumbles slowly when you ignore the small cracks. Today, I am still Emma. Still 25, but stronger. Yes, I carry scars, but I also carry wisdom. I know now that love is not just about butterflies and feelings. It's about patience, forgiveness, effort, respect, and choosing each other every single day. So if you're listening, take my story as a warning and as hope. Don't let your forever slip away because of silence. Don't let your pride destroy what your love has built. Hold on tighter. Fight harder, because once the door closes, sometimes it never opens again. That was the end of my marriage story. But it is also the beginning of my healing, my strength, and my new life.